blah. Isn't really much here.
Blah, blah, stop blah, blah, and we're live. Say actual words, please.
Blah, blah is an actual word.
Blah, blah is an actual word, but it's not particularly interesting or descriptive.
Oh, stop it. I don't know.
Welcome to Friday Sips Live, Dan.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing well. It had. Well, yes, it's been a while together.
Yes.
I made cocktails all by myself last week.
I was very sick last week.
I did not want to be around you sick, so that worked out fine.
Wise decision.
So we're pre-drinking a little Buffalo Trace store pick from Hazel's in Boulder, Colorado, which is very nice. I recently found out that a friend of mine, who is a distillery owner, I won't say his name. I don't know why I won't say his name, but I guess I won't. He is a huge Buffalo Trace store pick fan, and it turns out he has like 200 bottles of the stuff.
That's a lot.
Yeah, just that's an open.
I mean, I can't judge. I have a gazillion bottles of Booker's. Who am I to talk?
You don't have 200 bottles of Booker's.
If I could afford them.
Even if you divide out the cost per bottle, you don't have the equivalent.
That's true.
Spend in that.
I would like 200 bottles of Booker's.
Me too. We've talked recently about, I don't have any unicorn bottles really, but I've got a handful of bottles that have gone up significantly. Like a Rock Hill Farms I bought in 2018 or 19.
Yeah.
I've never sold anything on the secondary, but I am really considering trading that for 2 to 3 bottles of Booker's. I'm sure you do.
I support it. Hi, Larry.
Hey, Larry. I'm sure you do. So we're gonna finish our pre-drinking while we discuss the main topic of the day is Dragon's Milk Origin.
Yeah.
And that is a whiskey made by the same people that make Dragon's Milk beer. My favorite version of that is this bourbon barrel aged stout. I like stouts. I do not like super sweet stouts. Dragon's Milk is just right. It is rich. You cannot see through it. It's got 11% alcohol by volume, so it's got a nice little edge.
I don't think I've ever had a stout that I could see through. That
Well,
doesn't sound like a stout.
Beer in general.
Oh, I see.
If one can see through one's beer, perhaps one needs a stouter
That's
beer.
called an airport beer. Hi, Bender, how's it going?
Bender has no unicorn bottles either.
You know, they're hard to come by. That's why they call them unicorns.
And I've had a few, but we just open them and drink them.
We do. I had that stag. That was I don't know does that count as
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That was delicious.
You know, I had the 2019 stag, George T. Stag, and it was the one everybody maligned. The minute they said there wouldn't be a 2021, that went from a $475 bottle to $1,100.
Oh my God. I wonder what was what's my, I don't even want to know.
It's at 12 or 13.
Yeah. That was a good bottle. All right. So by the way, I should mention too, we had this for next time, the Wyoming Whiskey Outrider.
Yeah, how did we not leave? So we're very excited because Dan was able to get both this bottle as a sample and this Wyoming whiskey sent to us at no charge as samples because we're dudes that drink whiskey on YouTube.
We're BFDs. Big old deals.
That's exciting. I really hope it doesn't suck because the first time we had a chance to have a relationship with a known distillery, it was Penelope, I think. And we didn't, neither one of us liked the Penelope, and we said so, and they commented like, sorry you don't like it. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah. They were watching. Oh.
I didn't think anybody was paying attention to us.
Do we start with the beer or do we start with the whiskey?
Well, I want to start with the beer.
Okay.
Because I've had a lot of that beer.
Okay.
And honestly, when I first heard they were doing a whiskey, I thought, well, cool. They're just going to distill the beer. It'll be awesome. Because there is a guy that does that. It's called, and I can't remember it, but he's in California. And he really doesn't mash his own whiskey. He just buys beer from really cool craft distillers by the truckload and distills that. That's what I would have assumed they did. Yeah. But then when the bottle came, it's bourbon. And that means the normal bourbon stuff applies as far as corn. I'm pretty sure there's no corn in that beer.
We can put some in.
We looked, and I don't see, this isn't actually released yet, I don't think. They still have a pre-order form on the website, but it doesn't give any hint as to the mash bill, so who knows. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, and we'll find it.
Was it on that other page that you looked at that didn't have any information either?
It wasn't, I don't think. I'll go back and look.
All right.
No, just it's 95 proof. I guess they're new at whiskey, so they feel the need to put the charred American white oak barrel thing in there because it's got to be an.
I can look at the press release too and see if.
Yeah, it'd be cool to know.
Yeah.
We can put that in the notes later.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let's have a little beer. And again, to the point that you can't see through it. It's a proper
I definitely can't see through mine.
ale. There's some chunky stuff in there.
Yeah. Mine looks like stainless steel.
Not an overbearing.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh, it's delicious. Some of the bourbon barrel aged stouts, I think, suffer from what a lot of finished whiskeys suffer from.
Yeah.
They leave a lot of the bourbon in the beer. And while I appreciate bourbon and I like bourbon, I bought a beer.
That's good.
And I'd rather just have the subtle influence of the barrel and not 4 gallons of dank bourbon left in the bottom when they do that.
Knob Creek did a collaboration with New Belgium Brewing on a barrel aged one. That was pretty good too.
Yeah.
It was definitely more. You could definitely taste more of the whiskey in that one.
Yeah. And look, I will. There's a thing in our household called beer tails, which are essentially cocktails that start off with beer.
I like that.
So we'll do 6 or 8 ounces of beer, an ounce of bourbon, a little Grand Marnier, some lemon. Delicious. So I don't mind bourbon and beer.
This is good.
Isn't it good?
I like this.
Yeah. Well, there's one more in your refrigerator, but I'll leave it there.
I'll trade you. So you've had the left-hand milk stout, yeah? So I've got some of those in there too.
Love
which
the
is
milk
also
stout.
delicious.
The milk stout nitro reminds me. I made some cold brew coffee.
Yeah.
And I was offering it to somebody, and I don't know, maybe it was you. Somebody went, "Well, is it nitro cold brew?" And I went, "No, I'm in my house. I don't actually have a nitro system in the house."
That sounds like it's something appropriately jerky enough that I might have said it. All
So,
right. Let's not lose our whiskey audience
No,
here.
no, it's not. I do not believe there'll be any relationship between these two beverages, but they're from the same people,
It's just
and
nice
I
to
like
have.
beer, so
Yeah.
there you go.
It's a good way to. Yeah, this is the first beer we've had on the show, I think.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Now-
Bring back our audience in case they're talking to us.
Oh, yeah.
You never know. They might be saying things.
Both of them.
Yeah. I didn't know
Four
that.
Roses, yeah.
So New Belgium had one in Four Roses. I didn't know about that one.
Where it says Friday Chug.
Friday Chugs Live. I'm here for it. All right. The Dragon's Milk Origin is officially open. So this is a 5-year small batch bourbon whiskey charred in American oak, or aged in charred American white oak barrels, 95 proof. Did I already say 5 years? 5 years.
Yes.
Very cool bottle. Very Game of Thrones. Let's see. Here, I'll show you. I don't know much about it other than that.
It is a pretty bottle. It's not clear. It's
Yeah, so we
I don't
don't
know what
really
you
know.
call that when the glass has been painted or whatever.
Yeah, we don't really know what this is going to look like till it's in the glass. And
Oh, that's a lovely color.
yeah, and apparently on the tablecloth too.
Well, that's our thing.
Keeping in tradition, yeah.
It's very dark for a 5-year-old.
It is.
Very dark.
But again,
Where is New Holland? I thought they
that
were
is
in
in
California.
Holland, Michigan.
Holland, Michigan. So not a particularly hot.
I don't know. There seems to be a lot of Michigan ones
maybe
popping up.
big temperature swings. That could explain the darker.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh, that's a nice nose. A little vanilla. It's not big.
It's not at all.
Get really in there though, and do the thing your daughter told you to do.
Oh yeah. My daughter, the neuroscientist. So 3 quick sniffs, then a deep sniff.
Ooh, yeah, see vanilla. Ooh, that's nice. I like that.
It's vanilla-y.
Yeah. A lot of char.
I was expecting that, but it's less char to me and more. There's a vegetable in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
What is that?
mint. The finish is minty.
I don't get the mint. It's like grass, like a grassy.
But I get, yeah, it's definitely vegetal.
Yeah.
That's just mint. The longer it sits. Spearmint.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like spearmint.
That second sip. But there is something earthy about it, right? Like there's
It
like
is.
a mint with some sod.
So 10 seconds in, I do not like it.
And like leather. You get like not a leather, like a leather conditioner. There's something that aftertaste
It's dry.
is different. There's a note in there I haven't tasted somewhere else before, which is exciting. Well, what is
And
it?
we're sure they actually distill this, right?
That's what it says, distilled in Holland, Michigan.
Distilled, aged, and bottled. Oh, yeah, there you go. That mint, that is...
There's something in there, though. What is that finish? Like, do you get that, like, there's like a...
I'm covered up in mint.
I mean, I get the mint, but to me, there's like an undertone of, like, I'm in a greenhouse. There's that fertilizer. Not in a bad, like, that sounds bad.
It is earthy.
Yeah.
And it's not a grainy
No.
earthy at all. That's a very mature tasting 5-year-old whiskey.
It is. There's a lot going on here.
I
mean, to that point, I mean, we talk a lot about, one note sort of younger whiskeys, where this has a lot of complexity.
There is a lot of alcohol in the nose, but there is zero burn.
Yeah, no, it's very smooth across the tongue.
Don't say smooth.
It is very fuzzy. It's nice, and we talked about this when I did when I did the open the bottle on the smoke wagon, which is an MGP, but we talked a lot about how when you're dealing with either a young distillery or like an MGP, it's hard to do something unique and different with that. And if you're doing something unique and different with either a young whiskey or MGP in general, you're already ahead of the game. I would count this in that category with a whiskey that they're doing a lot with this.
I think that's good.
I do too.
I would, if I was tasting that blind.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that caught me was there was some weird vegetable thing, like a zucchini or something, or a squash.
Yeah.
After that first, I don't get that anymore.
I
But
do.
the overwhelming mint in that, I mean, it's like if I went out to, my wife typically grows mint in a pot on the patio so that we can make mint juleps, because, why don't you do that? And if I grab a handful of that and it's got a little dirt on it and it's been raining, that's the sensation of the mint that I'm getting. It's very, if I was tasting this blind, I might think you had tried to slip something in. Little, it's dry, but there's a sweetness to it, and the mint, it's almost like there's more than just the whiskey in there.
The nose has changed a little bit for me.
Okay, now I was hard to smell anything the first time.
Yeah, when I first got vanilla, now I'm getting a little bit more of that grappa note that I'm always talking about.
Well, if you do the 3 shorts and a long, which we'll now refer to as the SOS nosing.
Yes.
Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
If you do that, though, I'm getting the oak's there, but it is oak. It's not char to me.
No, yeah, I don't get the char until it hits your tongue, and that was really on that first sip. Now I don't get it as much.
I'm either done talking about this whiskey or I have to have some more.
There you go. I get what you're saying with the mint. We have some mint in the yard. It grows everywhere if you want some.
Oh, that'd be fun to sniff next to it. But
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what I tasted.
I get the mint, but I'm getting something. It's that vegetable, earthy matter kind of.
So, Michigan, I think they have relatively warm summers. They definitely have cold winters. That's a very dark whiskey for a 5-year-old. I'm going to hold it in front of the camera that's not on. So
There's mine.
it's a very dark whiskey for 5 years old, but with extreme temperature swings, the barrel breathes a lot. So I could see that happening.
There's got to be at least one mosquito in here.
Do we know what the MSRP of that bottle is?
Ooh, that I do not know.
I'm going to pre-order.
Let's see. Yeah, I'd be interested to know, actually.
Oh, that's a beer pre-order. I didn't want to pre-order.
I should really have my computer in front of me. I might have all this information.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a circle back. So I don't know what this costs.
I'll find out.
Well, we can't blind taste it, so I will blind price it. This should be a $45 bottle of whiskey.
I'm going to go with closer to 60.
Well, no, I'm saying what it should be.
What it should be.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, what I'm saying is what it's probably going for. So let's see. Let me take a look at the press release.
In my day job, I computer all day long. Apparently, once I'm done with that, I'm not good enough for Dan.
You don't know how to computer?
Oh, but you got an email.
We did. That's what
I love that mint finish.
Ooh, it has a press release. Let's see.
If we can figure out the mash
Oh, you
bill.
nailed it. $45.
Yeah. If you're
Hey, let me see if
the
they
mash bill, I'm gonna guess a lot of rye in that mash bill.
Let's see
If there's, I don't know how else you get mint like that.
let's see.
At least 25% rye.
Ooh, pot still.
Oh, is it pot stilled?
Yep.
Oh, that could explain a lot.
Name of the
That
beer.
you get a lot more funky vegetal notes out of a
Yeah.
pot still than you do a column still.
100-year Prohibition era pot still that resides at New Holland's production facility.
I'm liking this more.
Still in parts fruit forward. True small batch. This recipe features corn, rye, and a high ratio of malted barley.
No! Oh, malted barley. Never mind. Barley's fine. I love malted barley. I was going to say malted rye. I was going to go, no way. That would explain I don't know, a lot of malted barley tends to get you more fruity notes.
Yeah. Well, and that's what one of the things they say is it's a fruit forward. I don't get
the fruit. I get
don't.
much more of a vegetable,
I do too.
herbal sort of.
I definitely do too. Let's see, stone fruit, pearl and apricot, blah, blah, blah. Dragon's
What
milk,
vegetable or what fruit? I just don't get the.
baked pastries and vanilla wafer.
I get a baked pastry thing
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, it is. It's released. It's released on April 16th.
Oh, there you go.
Uh,
But it doesn't really tell us what that mash bill is, just what.
No, it's just sort of what's in it.
Well, I think wow, that's different is if that's more, because a typical bourbon's going to have 3 to 8 or 10% malted barley in it.
Mm-hmm.
If they've gone up more, remember the Boulder Spirits bourbon?
Yeah.
That's what was it? 44% malted
Yeah.
barley.
When we talked too. I mean, the pot still is something huge too.
Yes.
We talked a lot about that when we visited
Deerhammer, yeah.
and what they're doing up there.
Look, I'm a fan. At 45, but they've priced it right. Maybe that's the benefit of a not traditional distillery that's thinking about value. And that's really funny because a 4-pack of this beer is like $18 or $19,
Yeah.
which is not cheap for beer.
Man,
I'm a buyer.
I didn't like the first sip, but I'm liking it more and more.
I didn't dislike the first sip, but it was weird.
It was.
Because I swear it was squash or zucchini or something.
Yeah, it's earthy and again.
I love that. The mouth feels good. It's not
Yeah.
it's not thin. The finish is. I mean, I've had a few 2-minute gaps where the finish is long and enjoyable and evolves.
Yeah,
Love it.
we gotta do the comparison.
Absolutely.
But first, I'm gonna rinse.
Cleanse that palate.
All right.
Yeah. So for Friday Sips Live on the Dragon's Milk Origin, I'm a buyer.
It's $45.
Yes.
I'm actually.
That's what it should be.
It is, and I think
Because that's what I said it should be.
this guy. I said I was expecting 60, and I think at 60 I'd be on the fence. But 45.
Well, today, 5-year-old is it actually age stated?
Yeah, 5 years old.
It is. So for a 5-year-old age-stated bourbon that's not sourced, you would not be wrong at guessing that'd be a $60 bottle. It shouldn't be. Frankly, it shouldn't be a $45 bottle, but I would pay
that's what
40.
it is.
I would pay $45 for that all day long.
I did a light pour of our turkey just to kind of give us a little.
I've got a handle of turkey left over from our Moab trip, which, by the way, was part of the upcoming launch of Dawn Patrol.
Which camera's the one that's like awesome for showing this? Oh, it's blocked. Here, try again. It's still.
Everybody look at Dan's chest. If you ride bikes or mountain bikes, or you just think, you know what, watching the Open the Bottle, Back to the Bottle videos, watching Friday Sips Live, not enough, Mark and Dan.
You need
I want
more of us.
more. Well, here you go. Here's a chance for more.
Launching in June.
Launching in June if you like mountain bikes. If you like road bikes, Slow Guy on the Fast Ride. It's Slow Guy on the Fast Ride on Instagram
yeah.
or .com on the interwebs.
Yes.
Check that stuff out.
Shameless plug. All right, how are our audience doing? We're still blank on them here. They're
Well,
like, they've all signed off because they
trying
look at
to
my
do-
chest.
So let's see.
Yeah,
Oh,
Larry, you're
Larry's gonna
absolutely
take a
right.
look.
I've spent more money on less.
Bender says there's also a toasted barrel version.
Yes.
There is?
It's on the website, I think.
Toasted barrel has, that jumped the shark quick.
We haven't really had a good toasted barrel in a while.
Well, the thing is, there is an awful lot of whiskeys that we all drink all the time that actually have just always been spent some time in a toasted barrel. I mean,
Yeah.
like all Michter's whiskey spends time in a toasted barrel.
I am not a Michter's fan.
I'm hit and miss. Everything Lenny does a lot of toasted
That's
barrel
true.
stuff.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
the
that all of
hammer.
a sudden, Michter's decided to call out the fact that they had a toasted barrel, the whiskey geeks latched onto it, and now even our beloved Wild Turkey.
There's a Wild Turkey toasted barrel.
Yeah. And we have a bottle. And I paid $175 for it.
Oh, the Master's Keep?
It's the
Oh,
Master's
okay.
Keep one. Yeah.
All right.
Better be
Little turkey, speaking of. Now that's fruit.
That's fruity.
Yeah. I mean, geez.
I don't know, man. I'd still pay $45 for that.
I
but
would.
It's getting harder and harder to justify why in the hell are there 100 and some odd bottles of whiskey in my house that
Yeah.
aren't Wild Turkey?
Yeah. I mean, this is interesting and is different. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, this tastes like Wild Turkey, which it always does, and it's good. It's hard.
Do you know why?
Because it's the same
It's
recipe.
Wild Turkey.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this is something new, and it tastes good and interesting. It's like complex. I think that's good.
They did a hell of a job with that. I'm gonna put something out there. I think that the reason that's really good is because good whiskey starts early in the process and fermentation.
Mm-hmm.
Companies and people that come from a brewing background understand fermentation.
Sure.
And I think that's a big piece of that.
Well, this has been a pleasant surprise.
Yes.
I'm very happy with this. And next,
I'm happy because it's the first full bottle anybody sent us to talk about for free,
Yeah.
and we really like it.
yeah, we do. But we got this one next week. This is the Wyoming Whiskey Outrider, which much lighter in color. You'll notice it's a much smaller bottle. I think we can polish that off quickly.
Yep.
We'll do this one next week. American straight whiskey, 100 proof.
Whiskey, not bourbon, right?
Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about the mash bill and everything that they tell us about.
I've had a couple of Wyoming whiskeys and thought they were pretty okay.
Okay, well that's good. I haven't had any.
There's a wheat whiskey, or I think it's a wheated bourbon or a wheat whiskey. Can't remember. It was pretty good. And then my son-in-law, somebody gave him at work gave him a bottle of their bourbon, like a 4-year-old. It was delicious.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Michigan whiskeys, which this is, by the way, the Journeyman that we had a few weeks ago. Do you remember that?
I remember that. We liked that, didn't we?
You liked it.
I liked it.
I didn't like it.
It was a wheat whiskey?
Well, I'll have to look up the recipe and everything, but I gave that away out of the free box.
The free box.
I gave it to my buddy Andy, who, by the way, is the one that I said, here's Booker's, and he said, boom, you know, like that was, but he liked it quite a bit, and he actually gave me his notes, which I thought.
How about that?
Now Andy is...
That bottle's getting a lot of play.
It is, and Andy is not confident in his palate. And I said, dude, it's your palate, so if it tastes good, it tastes good. You know?
Exactly.
Let me get...
I thought it was okay. I wasn't blown away, but I
Yeah.
thought it was okay for what it was.
It was not my favorite. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, and by the way, his dad's company is working with Journeyman, so I don't know. Maybe he's...
Oh, he's biased. God.
He said he got salted caramel vibes, which I don't remember what we said about it, honestly.
either.
But I remember not liking
I'm only
it that much.
I'm only agreeing that I liked it because you said I did.
You did. I did not. I was not into it. And he asked about Kavalan whiskey, which is the Taiwanese.
I've had one of those. It's super popular, and it ranges from very inexpensive to stupid expensive.
Yeah.
Versus, I had one at my friend Steve's house at my Thursday night men's group, which is a bunch of guys drinking whiskey on a deck, talking about stuff that they don't want to talk about. It was okay.
It's like this, except we talk about what we do want to talk about.
Yes,
And we're not on a
there's a
deck.
camera going.
Yeah.
Oh, Kavalan's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, we should maybe grab a bottle of that. And I mean, I've never had Taiwanese whiskey. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, sure. I'll drink whatever.
Do we want to talk about anything else or drink anything else? What do you got? Or we just want to
Didn't
drink
even
more of
notice
this?
you brought the Knob Creek out.
I always bring that. I mean, come on. It's so good.
I think against our baseline, Wild Turkey 101, the Dragon's Milk Origin holds up quite well.
It does.
I'm almost suspect of that finish. That's a really good minty finish. So I would love to know how much rye is in there, because I think at that I can see that. Say it's the right amount of corn. It's 51, 52%, 53% corn. If there's a healthy dose of rye, and, as they say, a lot of malted barley.
Yeah.
I could see that resulting in that. Now, the fruit they talk about, we'll have to come back to it. I don't get a lot of the
I don't
fruit
get it either.
up front, but maybe after it sits for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's vanilla on the nose, and everything else is that vegetable.
But after that taste,
matter.
no way that's going to be something I don't think is a $45 bottle. So if you guys see it, buy it. It's definitely different.
I would buy that at 45. Absolutely.
And if your wife also grows mint, make a mint julep out of it because it's already got a step on you with that mint finish.
Mm-hmm.
Good, done.
I'm just very curious about that vegetable matter taste. I wonder what
I don't know.
That's an interesting note.
It is.
Well, you mentioned the Knob Creek. Do you want a little bit of that?
Sure.
I mean, why not, right?
Yeah. I know we ran out of stuff to talk about relatively quickly.
So I saw something on Instagram that Freddie No, the
Master distiller.
Yeah, the torch has been passed.
Well,
sort of.
So he's the master distiller of, and maybe somebody can look that up. It's the James B. Beam. They built another distillery to do some experimentation and to distill what will ultimately become Booker's. I believe he's the master distiller of that. He's not the master distiller of Jim Beam.
Gotcha.
Fred, his dad, still is.
Still is.
Yeah. He will certainly do that. And I think, where do you stand on that? Real estate people can't use master bedroom anymore because of the connotation of master in a racial context. I really always felt like master distiller referred to a master of a craft. Although with the advent of Uncle Nearest and realizing that Jack Daniel was taught to distill whiskey and the preacher he got the distillery from was taught to distill whiskey by Nearest Green, a slave. Is there some connection there? Should we not be using the term master distiller?
You'll notice the color of my skin. I'm probably not the right guy to make that determination.
Neither am I. Neither is the majority of bourbon drinkers. But it's an interesting thing. Or is that the holy shit, we can't say any words anymore?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, my feeling is let people who are more invested in that make that decision, and I'll try my best to adhere to that. But at the same time, I'm like, language is a pretty malleable thing.
Yeah, I'd like to master a craft and have somebody tell me I'm a master of that craft.
I think it would be very difficult to take the word master out of our lexicon in the connotation it's taken on in the last however many years since it meant what it meant. So I don't know. I mean,
I want more people drinking bourbon.
Yeah.
I want more people drinking whiskey.
If it's going to open doors, we can figure out a better way to say it.
Because I want more people here in the garage with us. I want more people at my house drinking whiskey.
I'm a word nerd, so for me, like, I'm that guy that's going to have a real hard time eliminating that word from my vocabulary. So I'm like, please, let's keep using that. But, I don't have that much skin in the game, so who knows? Still delicious. Wow. Cinnamon.
It's hot. Hot today.
Compared to this and not this.
We didn't drink that.
What, this?
Yeah.
Just staring at me.
We can't.
We gotta have something to talk about next week.
We'll figure something out. We'll leave it to Larry and Bender. Yeah. Larry and Bender, should we wait till next week or should we open the Wyoming Whiskey now?
I'll have to look it up and see the information on that if we're going to open it right now.
Yeah, because we're such a font of absolute knowledge of everything else.
We are the font of information that you can find on the internet.
I don't know, Larry. Apprentice, journeyman, master. You're right. That's exactly that's the use of it that I think they use in master distiller. Well, unfortunately, the poor real estate people are left with primary bedroom and secondary bedroom. That's not sexy.
No, we're gonna have to find a sexier word.
Difficult choices. You know what's not a difficult choice? Could you guys tell us if we should open the Wyoming Whiskey or not?
This one right here, this little guy. I am looking up, by the way, the Outrider, which, by the way, for a full bottle is $69.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's lots.
Oh, let's see what we got here. Blah, 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 herd, cattle, blah, 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 thoroughbreds. Okay, that's great. Straight American whiskey is a blend of two distinct mash bills, an almost rye whiskey, and a high rye bourbon that represents Wyoming whiskey's first use of rye. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Tasting notes, don't care. That's it. That's all we got. 100 proof. It doesn't say if it's distilled.
They do distill their own.
I know they do, but I don't know if this one is.
Oh, yeah.
I would hope so, right? Like, given that.
They didn't send notes when they sent the whiskey?
No, I sought this one out. So this was not a, it doesn't really give you a whole lot of information here. Well, should we open it? Do it.
Bender says do it.
Do it. Of course Bender says do it. Come on.
It's not his whiskey. What's he
Right?
He's wasting a Friday afternoon
Right?
watching us.
I know, man. Well, okay, so that means we got to finish this Knob Creek. Why don't you crack that open? I'll get a different glass so I don't have to chug my Knob Creek.
Bender says we're in too deep now.
We're committed. We got to do it. All right. Fair enough. The funny thing is we have to record more videos after this, so.
More videos that involve you riding a bike and me actually getting you in the frame of a camera.
This ought to be interesting. All right, Wyoming Whiskey. All right, so it says high rye.
Larry said it's 200 milliliters. How long can it take?
Fair point, too. Oh, okay, I see.
Y'all don't tell Dan I actually put my nose on this by accident.
I was the one that was sick last week. All right, so rye is what we're thinking here. This says a high rye bourbon and an almost rye whiskey. What does that mean exactly?
Well, it means that it's not a rye whiskey and also not a bourbon.
So we're just talking percentages.
Yep. So there's probably, 40%, 20, 30, 40% rye, 20, 30, 40% corn, some malted barley to make up the difference and get the fermentation going.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
So it says a light to moderate rye spice with a full creamy mouthfeel.
Creamy.
I do not like that at all. You guys need better writers. Yeah. All right, let's see what we got.
Please reach out to us.
Yeah.
Brown Tie Media.
Brown Tie Media. All right, I gotta do the SOS.
Oh, yeah. You're not even doing it right.
Oh, I'm not? You gotta keep going?
3 little sniffs with the break between them, so. Then the big one.
Oh, wait, do you get to exhale at any point during that?
Oh, yeah, we didn't get that detailed.
I'm gonna pass out if I do that.
So basically, I want you to huff your whiskey.
These are whiskey whippets. All right.
I'll ask Natalie when I see her again.
I will pass out if I don't exhale.
Oh, the exhale's better. It's not a bad nose. It's kind of pecans or something nutty.
Yeah, it's like a caramelly, like a pie, like a caramel, like a
butter,
pecan pie kind of thing. I don't think this is very old.
Lovely mouthfeel.
Well, I actually like that. There was a little note in there I didn't like. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not mind-blowing.
Well, it's off because it's not a thing. It's whiskey. All bourbon is whiskey. All whiskey is not bourbon. This is all whiskey is not.
So here's a question: what kind of are you getting a lot of rye here?
No.
Like I'm getting kind of the memory of rye, if that makes sense. Like it's around rye, but it's not rye.
Like there's more rye on the nose than there is on the palate.
That's true.
If we were blind shelfie and throw down this, I would guess rye.
I think I would too. No, because I'm always wrong. So no, I would guess bourbon.
The first part on the tongue is a little bit of that char or marshmallow thing. And that's what might make me think, was that right? Is that really rye?
There's something...
It's a fruity finish.
Really?
I like that.
So I get more pepper on the back of the tongue. Or are you getting it on the front?
It's up front.
Your tongue is broken.
Could be.
You have a broken tongue.
Yeah, could be. I do not dislike that.
I don't either.
I do have an issue, not an issue, I have trouble with middling things where it's not this and it's not that, it's here, especially if people will take like there's a thing now going on where I got a high rye bourbon and I blend that with the rye whiskey and that comes out to be this thing.
You know what this is? Okay, I don't know if any of you guys out there smoke cigars at all. I'm a very, very occasional cigar smoker. I used to like them a lot. I used to smoke a lot more cigars. What I like, so the aftertaste, the finish on this is the same kind of aftertaste you get when you smoked a really good cigar. So it's like a peppery feel, but not in that unpleasant, like I just got blasted with pepper feel. And there's a little bit of like a singe almost, you know. That's what this is. And it's not overwhelming. It's a very subtle thing the longer it sits on your tongue. I think that's what I'm getting.
Could be. I don't know. As it sits, there is a rye, and it's the rye you get from a very rye, not a Kentucky rye.
Yeah.
The finish is lovely. It's fruity. I like that. Do we know what the cost of that is?
Yeah, it was $68.99.
That's right. You said that.
Not for the little guy,
I don't like it that much.
You know, I get the fruit on the front of the tongue rather than on the finish. It's just more peppery at the back for me. I wouldn't pay $69 for it, but I think that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing to decide because the market now is weird, and I'm sure I do not fault a distillery for going for the money because the secondary
Well, here's a
traders are
question.
getting it.
If you were in Wyoming at their distillery, would you pick it up a bottle for this?
Probably, yeah. I'd be under the mist of the distillery and the smells, and I'd probably buy it.
And just wanting to support them, right? Like,
Yep, 100%.
And you're supporting them with a bottle you'll actually drink. So, yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, I have no problem drinking that. Now, if I'm buying that and I'm paying my money and that's more than 50, that's a problem.
You know what the best part about both of these bottles is? They're both going to show up in a blind shelf you throw down at some point. So we'll get a real honest assessment.
I'm guessing since they live at your house, I'm going to have to face that.
You never know. You never know. I mean, you're going to walk home with some of these.
Sometimes you buy a bottle you stretch to support. And do we know, is Wyoming Whiskey still owned by whoever started it, or has it been bought by one of the gigantic conglomerates?
I got to stop closing my window here. I don't know. Let me look. It seems like it's still...
Just Google who owns Wyoming Whiskey.
Who owns? The Googles knows everything.
Because High West, was bought by Compart. I can't remember who bought them, but a gigantic...
Kate Mead. So that's Kate is a rancher. Kate runs, and Brad is a pilot and CEO of Wyoming Whiskey.
Oh, cool.
I guess it's still family owned.
Oh, come back to it in your glass with just a little bit in it and nose that and tell me.
Wait, I got to do the whippet.
Now it's brown, super brown sugar.
Yeah, I do get some of that. To me, it's still that. I get a little
like that.
A little more citrus.
I'd go higher. I don't get the citrus. I do get some fruit.
What would you pay for a full bottle of this? 44?
If they actually own it, I want to say 60, but then why the hell would I just give them the $70? So I'd buy it.
Well, so there's two situations, right? Now that you know what it is and who owns it. But if you walked into the store and I want to try something different.
I walk into the store all the time with that mentality, and I've never once bought Wyoming Whiskey.
There you go.
And I've had a few of those, like I mentioned before.
Yeah. At 50, I'm tempted, But I mean, with something like this at 45, that's hard to beat for 45
They're
bucks.
very different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
Now, I do have to think through how I'm going to drink that because I will make cocktails, and I cannot in my head think of a cocktail I'd make with the Wyoming Whiskey. Maybe an old fashioned. I don't know. It's definitely different. I think it's one that.
I'm happy with both of these.
I'm not disappointed. I'm actually impressed. Whether or not I ultimately decide it's worth $70, I'm impressed with the whiskey. That when it hits the palate, it's sweet, but it retains the spice. Mm-hmm. I like that a lot.
Do we remember what I paid for that Castle and Key? Because I think that's a good.
It's $60 for that.
Yeah, okay.
Awful bottle of whiskey.
So that's what I paid then, because I paid retail for it. And that was the one that went in the giveaway box and then came back out.
It's an awful bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, but I didn't think it was that awful.
It was awful.
Ooh, excuse me. Pardon me.
Let me mute that.
What's Bender saying there?
Yeah, he likes the Wyoming Whiskey small batch. It's tasty, $36.
Yeah.
And weeder. Yeah, I like weeder.
I
Weeded
struggle.
bourbon or a wheat whiskey, Bender?
See, I struggle with the weeded ones more than you do.
I like the wheat. I like the wheat a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. You know my relationship with Weller. That's just sort of, which seems to be the gold standard of weeded whiskeys for some reason. I don't know. I mean, I've had better ones, I think.
Like what?
I was talking out of my ass. You weren't supposed to call me on that.
Sorry, I've been listening to the Mark Maron podcast. That's his favorite thing to do. I hung out with these people. Who? What? Who did you hang out with?
That's some journalist shit right there. Yeah.
Oh,
You think I'd be better at this?
Weeded bourbon. Yeah, I love try it. Like I said, I've had a couple and I didn't dislike them. I don't dislike that. I like that a fair amount.
I just went back to this though, and man,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the thing that makes it hard for the smaller distillers when
It is.
when the massive players can just flick out something like a 120 proof store pick type thing or the barrel proof 9-year standard. I mean, it's awfully hard to compete.
but
with the
these
price.
are such different experiences, like it depends on what you're trying to do with your evening,
Well, or do you just want to drink the same thing over and over again? I don't know. That's part of what just kills me about the whole MGP thing is you stand there at the whiskey shelf and a third of what you're looking at was produced in the same place. And I get that they buy it and they age it. I get all that. It still started there.
Well, but these two actually really speak well to our cynicism at this point, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I will go to the store, and if I see this on the shelf, I'm going to buy it, no doubt. And I'm less willing now to take risks on stuff like this. We're in a very fortunate position to be able to try this stuff. And I think that really speaks to how we've sort of honed in on, we know what's good at this point. But these are the surprises.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate enough to be able to taste those things and tell you guys.
We need the surprises.
Yeah.
We got Lenny's surprises at Deer Hammer. And
by
then we
a
went
long
all
shot.
in and we had a bunch of bottles of craft stuff that was terrible.
Yeah.
But you got to keep trying stuff.
If you guys haven't
let
watched
us do it.
the Deer Hammer videos, by the way,
Do that.
please do.
Yeah. There's, I think, 3 videos in and around the warehouses and the distillery.
Yeah.
It's a couple of podcasts.
And Mark,
And Lenny's awesome.
Yeah,
he
Lenny's
is
cool.
Him and his wife Amy are the just nicest, most welcoming people,
they're pretty cool.
and the whiskey's good.
And Mark talks a lot about the mystique of being there, and we were worried about that because we went into it with our cynicism. We went there and we were like, wow! And then we came home and we were like, okay, was the wow factor too much for us? We should try it now. And I think consistently, we think it's been good.
Yeah.
So,
And we still have the bottling of the practical still bottles.
we do. My God, that was fun.
It was delicious.
We're here for you.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Yeah.
So I think the results are definitely try that if you get a chance. Give Wyoming Whiskeys a shot. That's pretty tasty. As Bender notes, there's other expressions, and I think they're worth taking a taste of. But have your baseline whiskey to bring yourself back to reality. Ours is Wild Turkey 101.
Yep. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I'm stoked on these two. These are great.
You know what? I think we should drink some more of it.
I think that's a fine idea.
Cool. Hey, Bender and Larry, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Very much appreciated. Don't forget the mountain bike stuff. And we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Bye.